Have you ever felt like life is pushing you to your limits? No matter how hard you try, there's always another obstacle waiting around the corner. Maybe you face setbacks in your career, your relationships, or your personal goals, and you're wondering, why me? But here's the truth. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening to you. Every challenge, every hardship, every moment of struggle is a test of your resilience, a test of your mindset, a test of whether you will rise or break. The greatest minds in history, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Viktor Frankl, understood this. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Life doesn't reward the strongest. It rewards those who refuse to quit. So if you're feeling lost, defeated, or unsure of what's next, good. That means you're standing at the edge of something powerful. The question is, will you let this moment break you, or will you use it to become the person you were meant to be? And if this resonates, share it with someone who needs it, someone who's struggling, someone who needs to hear this today. And in the comments, tell your story. What challenge tested you, and how did you overcome it? Because the truth is, you're not alone in this battle. And if you don't quit, you've already won half the fight. Now, let's begin. 1. Challenges are your greatest teacher. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care about your plans. It comes at you fast, without warning, and when it does, you have a choice. Run from it. Complain about it, or face it head-on and grow. Most people, they choose the first two. They see obstacles as punishments and setbacks as proof that they are unlucky or undeserving. They fall into the trap of self-pity, asking, why me? But the strong, the ones who refuse to be broken, they ask a different question. What is this teaching me? Because they understand a truth that separates the weak from the unstoppable. The hardest moments in life are not here to destroy you. They are here to build you. Think about it. Every transformation is born from struggle. Steel is forged in fire, diamonds form under pressure. The strongest trees grow where the wind is the fiercest. And men are built in adversity. Yet, when we are hit with hardship, we forget this. When life knocks us down, we don't see the opportunity, we see the pain. We see loss, we see failure. And that's natural. Pain blinds us at first. It makes us believe that we are victims and that life is unfair. But fairness has nothing to do with it. Life is not fair, and it never will be. The only thing that matters is what you do next. I know this because I've lived it. I remember the moment everything collapsed. My small cafe, my dream, was gone. COVID-19 wiped out everything I had built. The doors were locked, the lights were off, and I was sitting alone, staring at the empty tables that once held customers, conversations, and a future I had envisioned for years. I felt helpless, angry. I wanted to scream, to blame the government, the economy, the world. But then in that silence, a realization hit me. This wasn't a punishment. This wasn't the end. It was a test. Life wasn't trying to break me. It was asking me a question. What now? Pain is the most ruthless teacher, but it's also the most honest. It strips you down, exposes your fears, and forces you to confront the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. But here's the secret. It also gives you the chance to rebuild. Stronger, smarter, wiser. The problem is, most people don't want that. They don't want to struggle. They don't want discomfort. They want an easy path, a smooth road, a guarantee that life will be kind. But that's not how this works. Look at history. J.K. Rowling was rejected 12 times before publishing Harry Potter. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before returning to build one of the most powerful empires in history. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before creating the light bulb. And then there's Marcus Aurelius, ruling Rome during plagues, wars, and betrayals, yet holding himself to the highest standard of discipline and wisdom. These weren't people who had it easy. They were people who understood that the obstacle is not in the way, the obstacle is the way. Every challenge is a door. You either step through it and evolve, or you stay where you are and let it define you. And make no mistake, life will keep testing you. It won't stop. At every stage, there will be new trials. In your 20s, it might be financial struggles, uncertainty about your future, or the pressure to prove yourself. In your 30s, maybe it's career stagnation, failed relationships, or self-doubt creeping in. In your 40s and beyond, it could be losing loved ones, health scares, or feeling like your best years are behind you. But no matter where you are, the test remains the same. Will you let this hardship break you, or will you use it to become the man you were meant to be? If you're watching this and you're in the middle of a storm, hear this. This is not the end. This is training. Life is molding you, preparing you for what's ahead. But only if you let it. Only if you stop seeing pain as the enemy and start using it as fuel. Because here's the brutal truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you the solution. It's on you. And the faster you accept that, the stronger you become. So what do you do now? First, stop asking why me. That question keeps you stuck. Instead, ask what's next. Second, take action. Immediately. No matter how small, move forward. If you lost your job, don't waste time complaining. Learn a new skill, make a plan, and send out applications. If your relationship ends, don't wallow in regret. Focus on yourself, build new habits, and strengthen your mind. If you're battling self-doubt, don't wait for confidence. Create it by doing the things that scare you. And finally, remember this: adversity is not an enemy. It is the greatest mentor you will ever have. It will test you and challenge everything you think you know about yourself. And in that moment, you will either let it define you, or you will define yourself through it. Life will continue to push you. It will throw obstacles in your path. It will demand more from you than you think you can give. And that is exactly why you will rise. Because you don't get to choose whether or not life tests you. But you do get to choose whether or not you pass the test. 2. Your response matters more than the challenge. 2 men lost their jobs on the same day. One sat in his apartment, staring at the wall, drowning in frustration. He blamed the economy, his boss, and his luck. Weeks passed, and he was still there, paralyzed by self-pity, waiting for something to change. The other man? He took a deep breath, accepted reality, and got to work. He updated his resume, reached out to connections, and eventually decided to start his own business. A year later, one was still stuck, complaining about how life was unfair. The other? He had built something new. The same event, 2 different responses, 2 different lives. Life will knock you down. That's a guarantee. You can't control when or how it happens, but what happens next? That's on you. Your reaction to adversity determines everything, whether you stay broken or rise stronger, whether the challenge defines you or refines you. Think about a single father, barely making ends meet. His wife left, the bills piled up, and exhaustion was his only constant companion. He has every reason to quit, to give in to despair. But he doesn't. Instead of focusing on what's missing, he focuses on what he still has: his children, his determination, and his will to fight. He works 2 jobs, learns new skills at night, and slowly turns his life around. The world didn't change for him. He changed the world. That's the power of response. You can't stop the storm, but you can decide whether to stand firm or let it destroy you. We see this in history. Viktor Frankl, imprisoned in a Nazi concentration camp, lost his family, his freedom, and everything. Yet he wrote, "When we are no longer able to judge a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." He couldn't control the horrors around him, but he controlled his mind. He found purpose in suffering. He refused to let the outside world dictate his inner world. And that made him unbreakable. How often do we let circumstances dictate our lives? A failed relationship, a business setback, a betrayal. We let these things define us. We drown in regret, in anger, in the unfairness of it all. But fairness has nothing to do with it. Life doesn't care about fairness. Life cares about how you react. A challenge can be the beginning or the end. It can be a curse or a lesson. The same fire that melts steel also forges it. The difference? How it's handled. When something goes wrong, you have 2 voices in your head. One whispers defeat. This is unfair. I can't do this. What's the point? The other, it tells you the truth. This is hard, but I can handle it. I will find a way. The voice you choose to listen to will shape your future. So how do you train yourself to respond better? First, control your emotions. Emotions cloud judgment. They make small problems look massive. They make temporary pain feel permanent. When something bad happens, stop. Breathe. Create space between the event and your reaction. Stoics call this cognitive distancing, observing your emotions without being controlled by them. Second, ask the right questions. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what now? Instead of, why is this happening? Ask, how can I use this? One keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. Third, take action. Immediately. The worst thing you can do in a crisis is nothing. Momentum is everything. Even if you don't know the perfect step, take one. If you lost your job, start applying today. If your relationship ends, hit the gym, read, and rebuild yourself. Action defeats despair. Look at your own life. Think about a time when you faced something that felt impossible. Maybe it was a financial ruin. Maybe it was heartbreak. Maybe it was losing someone you loved. Now ask yourself, how did you respond? Did you fight? Did you adapt? Or did you let it consume you? Every time life tests you, you get stronger or weaker. There's no in between. If you choose to let adversity break you, it will. If you choose to rise, you will. It won't be easy, but growth never is. The question isn't whether life will challenge you, it's whether you will rise to meet it. And that choice, that's always yours. 3. You don't need approval, just yourself. A man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. Mark Twain. From the moment you are born, the world starts telling you who you should be. Parents, teachers, friends, society, everyone has an opinion. Get a stable job. Follow the rules. Don't take risks. Fit in. And if you don't, you feel the weight of judgment pressing down on you, the fear of rejection, the need to be accepted. But let me ask you this, whose life are you living? Yours, or the one the world has mapped out for you? Think about Elon Musk. When he spoke about sending rockets to Mars, people laughed. When he said electric cars would replace gasoline, they mocked him. He was called delusional, reckless, even insane. But today, SpaceX is revolutionizing space travel. Tesla is dominating the auto industry. And those same people, now they call him a genius. The lesson? If you wait for approval, you'll never do anything great. Why do we crave validation so much? It's wired into us. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by the tribe meant death. We survived by belonging. But today, that same instinct traps us. It keeps us small, afraid to take risks, afraid to stand alone. But the truth is, no one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. People are too busy worrying about themselves. And even if they do judge you, so what? Their opinions won't pay your bills. Their approval won't build your dreams. I know this firsthand. In my family, being a doctor was the ultimate goal. It was respectable, stable, something to be proud of. Relatives would constantly say, "You should go into medicine. It's a noble profession." But I didn't want that life. I wanted something different. And when I chose my own path, I felt the pressure, the disapproval, the whispers of, "Are you sure? That's risky. Maybe you should reconsider." But I knew something they didn't. Regret is heavier than any disapproval. Look around you. How many people live their entire lives trying to meet expectations that aren't even their own? The man working a job he hates because it's safe. The woman stays in a toxic relationship because leaving would mean judgment. The dreamer who never took the leap because someone told him it was impossible. But here's the truth. You don't need permission to be yourself. You don't need validation to chase what matters to you. Not every road that society deems right is right for you. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all formula. Some people find fulfillment in corporate careers, others in entrepreneurship. Some people thrive in routines, others in adventure. There is no universal path. The only path that matters is the one that aligns with who you truly are. But breaking free isn't easy. It means going against the current, standing alone when necessary, and refusing to let the fear of judgment dictate your choices. It means unlearning the idea that you need approval to be worthy. First, recognize the weight of external expectations. Ask yourself, is this what I truly want, or is this what I've been told to want? If you're honest, you'll see how much of your life has been shaped by other people's opinions. Second, learn to say no. No to paths that don't align with you. No to traditions that don't serve you. No to the idea that your worth is tied to approval. Saying no is hard. It disappoints people. It makes you feel alone. But what's worse? Spending years living a life that isn't yours. Third, take action despite the fear. The discomfort of going against the grain is temporary, but the regret of never trying, that lasts forever. Think of the legends who shaped history. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, only to come back and change the world. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television, only to become one of the most influential figures on the planet. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't need permission. Neither do you. At the end of the day, this is your life. No one else will live with your regrets. No one else will face the consequences of your choices. So stop waiting. Stop seeking approval that doesn't matter, and start living in a way that does. For motivation doesn't come first. Action does. Why do so many people wait? They wait for the right mood, the right energy, the right moment. They convince themselves that once they feel motivated, they'll finally start chasing their goals. But here's the brutal truth. Motivation is a liar. It's unreliable, inconsistent, and fleeting. If you wait for motivation, you'll be waiting forever. Think about the people who have transformed their bodies, lost weight, and built their confidence. Do you think they felt like going to the gym every morning? No. The alarm rang. Their bodies screamed to stay in bed, but they got up anyway. They laced up their shoes, walked out the door, and pushed through. Not because they felt like it, but because they had already made the decision. And after weeks, months, and years, the results came. Not from motivation, but from consistent action. This is where most people fail. They think success starts with feeling ready. They believe that one day they'll wake up and want to do the hard things. But that's not how it works. Success is built on the days you don't feel like it. The days you're exhausted, the days you'd rather quit. The days when every fiber of your being tells you to take it easy, but you don't. That's where growth happens. Look at the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and thinkers in history. Do you think they always felt inspired? Do you think they woke up every day eager to train, to work, to push their limits? No, but they did it anyway. Because they understood a truth that separates winners from everyone else. Discipline beats motivation every time. Mike Tyson didn't become a champion by training only when he felt like it. Jocko Willink, a retired Navy SEAL, wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every morning to work out. Not because it's fun, not because he's excited, but because discipline doesn't care about feelings. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. The problem is that most people are addicted to comfort. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more energy. I'll begin when I feel inspired. Maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. And before they know it, they've wasted their lives waiting for a feeling that never comes. Stop waiting. Stop negotiating with yourself. Take the first step, no matter how small, because action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Think of it like a train. When it's at a complete stop, it takes massive energy to get moving. But once it's rolling, it builds speed. It becomes unstoppable. Your goals work the same way. The hardest part is getting started, but once you do, the movement itself will carry you forward. Let's talk about reality. You've had days where you didn't want to do something, but you forced yourself to do it anyway. And what happened? Somewhere along the way, you found your rhythm. You found your focus. You found your energy. Because movement generates momentum. So what's stopping you now? What excuse are you telling yourself? That you're too tired? That it's too late? That you're not ready? None of that matters. Start anyway. The truth is, successful people don't have more motivation than you. They don't wake up feeling unstoppable every morning. They don't always feel inspired. They just act despite not having motivation. That's the difference. The people who accomplish their dreams aren't superhuman. They're not gifted with unlimited energy or inspiration. They just show up, day after day, when it's hard, when it's inconvenient, when no one is watching. And you can too, but only if you stop waiting. Because if you don't quit, if you keep showing up, no matter how small the effort, one day you'll look back and realize you've built something incredible. Not from motivation, but from the action. So stop waiting. Take the first step. Start today. 5. How fast you get up matters more than how many times you fall. Failure is inevitable. No matter how skilled, careful, or experienced you are, life will test you. You will make mistakes. You will face losses. You will encounter moments when everything you worked for seems to fall apart. The question is never if you will fall. The question is, how fast will you get back up? Most people spend their lives trying to avoid failure. They hesitate before taking risks, fearing the sting of disappointment. They overanalyze every move, waiting for the perfect moment to act. But perfection doesn't exist, and in trying to avoid failure, they achieve nothing at all. They remain stagnant, paralyzed by the fear of falling, instead of learning how to rise faster when they do. The ones who win? They aren't the ones who never fall. They are the ones who recover the fastest. Think about two men starting the same career path. Both are intelligent, hardworking, and driven. But early on, both experience setbacks. A failed project, a rejected proposal, a humiliating mistake in front of colleagues. The first man takes it personally. He withdraws. He overthinks. He loses confidence and starts second-guessing himself. Weeks pass, then months. He is still in the same place, too afraid to make another move. The second man, he takes the hit, learns the lesson, and moves forward immediately. He doesn't waste time dwelling on what went wrong. He focuses on how to adjust. He understands that failure is part of the process, not a reflection of his worth. He works on his weaknesses, strengthens his skills, and gets back in the game before doubt has time to settle in. 5 years later, where are they? One is still stuck, bitter about past failures. The other is miles ahead, not because he never failed, but because every time he did, he got back up faster. This is the defining difference between those who succeed and those who don't. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how fast you rise. Life has no pause button. Every second spent dwelling on failure is time that could have been used to rebuild. But most people waste weeks, months, or even years reliving their mistakes instead of moving forward. They let failure become their identity instead of using it as fuel. Think about a boxer in the ring. A fight isn't won by the man who never gets hit. It's won by the man who gets knocked down but gets back up before the referee counts to 10. The best fighters don't dwell on the last punch. They focus on the next move. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They rise because they don't give themselves another option. Or take a man recovering from a painful breakup. One version of him spends years stuck in the past, reliving old memories, blaming himself or his ex, afraid to open his heart again. He carries his pain like a burden, letting it dictate his future. Another version allows himself to feel the pain but doesn't stay there. He processes it, learns from it, and focuses on becoming the best version of himself. One stays trapped in regret. The other moves forward into a better future. Same failure. Two different responses. Two different lives. Failure alone doesn't determine your future. Your response to failure does. The truth is that staying down after a failure is a choice. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it feels unfair. But at some point, you have to decide, are you going to let this define you, or are you going to rise? The faster you recover, the faster you progress. It's that simple. So how do you train yourself to rise faster? First, stop fearing failure. Expect it. See it as part of the process, not a sign that you should quit. The moment you stop seeing failure as a tragedy and start seeing it as training, it loses its power over you. Second, shorten your recovery time. Set a rule for yourself, 24 hours to process, then action. If something goes wrong, allow yourself to feel it. Be angry, disappointed, frustrated, but don't stay there. After 24 hours, shift your focus forward. Ask yourself, what's next? Third, train resilience like a muscle. The more you intentionally put yourself in discomfort, the stronger your ability to recover. Take cold showers. Push yourself beyond your limits in the gym. Face rejection on purpose. Condition yourself to handle setbacks so that when real challenges hit, you're already prepared. And finally, never let failure define you. Let your response define you. At the end of the day, life doesn't reward those who never fall. It rewards those who refuse to stay down. The strongest, most successful people in the world are not the ones who never experienced hardship. They are the ones who faced it, learned from it, and kept going. So the next time life knocks you down, don't waste a single second asking why me. Instead, ask what's next. Because in the end, the ones who rise the fastest are the ones who win. 6. Self-pity is your worst enemy. Life is unfair. You didn't choose your starting point. You didn't choose your struggles. You didn't ask for the heartbreak, the loss, the setbacks. And when you're down, when life has knocked the wind out of you, it's easy to sit there and ask, why me? It's easy to look around and think that others have it better, that life is treating them kindly while you keep falling. But here's the truth. Self-pity is a trap. It keeps you stuck. It makes you weaker. It convinces you that your situation is permanent and that you're powerless to change it. And the longer you stay in it, the more you lose. Opportunities, time, strength, and most importantly, control over your own life. Chris Gardner, the man whose life inspired the pursuit of happiness, knew this better than anyone. At one point, he had nothing. No home, no money. He slept in subway station bathrooms with his son, struggling just to survive. He had every reason to break, every reason to give up, every reason to sink into self-pity. But he didn't. He refused to feel sorry for himself. Instead, he focused on what he could control: his mindset, his effort, his ability to keep going. And in the end, he became a millionaire. Not because life handed him an opportunity, but because he refused to stay down. Most people don't see self-pity for what it is, a poison. It disguises itself as comfort, whispering lies like, "It's not your fault. You've suffered too much. You deserve to take it easy." But self-pity doesn't heal you. It doesn't solve your problems, it keeps you stuck in them. Why do people fall into it so easily? Because it's the easy way out. It's easier to say, "Life is unfair," than to say, "I need to take responsibility." It's easier to complain than to change. It's easier to sit and do nothing than to get up and fight. But here's what most people don't realize. Nobody's coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. That's on you. Self-pity is the enemy of progress. While you're sitting there feeling bad for yourself, the world keeps moving. Other people with struggles just as deep, just as painful as yours, are out there fighting, building, and growing. Every second you spend in self-pity is a second wasted. So how do you break free? First, recognize the lie. Self-pity tells you that you are powerless, but that's not true. No matter how bad your situation is, there's always something you can control. Your response, your next step, your mindset. The moment you stop focusing on what you've lost and start focusing on what you can do, everything changes. Second, stop telling yourself the same sad story. The more you repeat your hardships in your mind, the deeper they control you. Change the narrative. Instead of saying, "I've been through too much," say, "I've survived worse, and I will overcome this too." Instead of, "Life is unfair," say, "I am stronger than my circumstances." Words shape your reality. Speak like a fighter, and you'll start acting like one. Third, take action. Immediately. Self-pity thrives in stillness. The longer you sit in it, the harder it is to escape. Move your body. Do something productive. Even if it's small, even if it seems meaningless at first, take a step. Progress is the antidote to pity. Fourth, shift your focus to gratitude. You can't feel sorry for yourself and grateful at the same time. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do. Every day, write down 3 things you are grateful for. It sounds simple, but it rewires your brain. It forces you to stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing the opportunities around you. Fifth, accept reality and move forward. Life isn't fair. Some people start with more, some people suffer more. But dwelling on that won't change it. The only thing that will change your life is what you do next. The truth is, you have a choice. You can let life break you, or you can use it to build something stronger. The past is done. The pain is real, but it doesn't define you. What defines you is what you do next. There are countless examples of people who refused to let self-pity win. People who took their pain and turned it into fuel. People who used every hardship as an opportunity to grow. If they can do it, so can you. So stop waiting. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stand up, move forward, and never let self-pity steal another second of your life. Find balance. Don't let emotions control you. A man is driving home after a long day. Someone cuts him off in traffic. His blood boils. His hands grip the wheel tighter. He honks and yells, and for the next 20 minutes he replays the moment in his head. By the time he gets home, he's still angry, snapping at his wife and his kids over something that happened hours ago. Another man is in the same situation. He feels the anger rise, but he takes a deep breath. He reminds himself, "This is not worth my peace." Instead of reacting, he lets it go. By the time he gets home, his mind is clear. He enjoys dinner with his family and laughs with his children. One man is controlled by his emotions. The other controls them. Same situation. 2 different outcomes. 2 different lives. This is the power of emotional control. And yet, most people don't have it. They let emotions dictate their decisions, cloud their judgment, and ruin their days. They react instead of responding. They explode in anger, drown in sadness, or let fear keep them from taking action. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not the enemy. Letting them control you is. Most people think emotional control means suppressing feelings. That's not it. You're not a robot. You will feel anger, frustration, sadness, but the key is to not let those emotions drive your actions. Imagine a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, but deep in the ocean, the water is calm. That's how you must be. The storm can rage around you, but inside, you remain steady. Life will throw things at you. A rude coworker, a betrayal, a financial loss, and your emotions will react. But here's the thing. You don't have to act on those emotions. You don't have to let them dictate your next move. You always have a choice. Look at history. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, taught that the only thing you truly control is your response. You can't control the world, you can't control people, you can't control every event, but you can always control how you react. That is power. That is freedom. Think of a boxer in the ring. If he lets anger take over, he starts swinging wildly, wasting energy, leaving himself open. But if he stays composed, he sees everything. He dodges, he strikes with precision. Control wins fights. Emotion loses them. Now ask yourself, how often have you let emotions control you? How many arguments have you escalated because you reacted instead of pausing? How many opportunities have you missed because fear held you back? How many times have you let one bad moment ruin an entire day? It doesn't have to be this way. Emotional control is not something you're born with. It's something you train. First, create space between emotion and reaction. The next time something angers you, don't act immediately. Take a breath. Step back. Let the emotions settle before you respond. Even a few seconds can change everything. Second, ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Most of the things we get upset about are meaningless in the long run. Don't give them power over you. Third, practice discipline daily. Cold showers, intense workouts, challenging tasks. The more you train yourself to endure discomfort, the stronger your control over emotions becomes. Fourth, focus on what you can control. You can't control other people, you can't control every situation, but you can control how you handle it. Make that your priority. And finally, don't mistake emotions for truth. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it's real. Fear doesn't mean danger. Anger doesn't mean attack. Sadness doesn't mean weakness. Learn to observe your emotions without becoming them. At the end of the day, emotional control is power. The world belongs to those who can remain calm under pressure, those who can think when others panic, those who can respond with wisdom instead of reacting with impulse. So the next time life tries to pull you into chaos, remember, you are not the storm. You are the ocean beneath it. Stay calm, stay steady, and take control of your life. 8. If you don't quit, you've already won half the battle. How many times have you thought about giving up? How many moments have you told yourself, maybe this isn't meant for me? Maybe you've tried and failed. Maybe you've been rejected, ignored, or told you're not good enough. Maybe you've started something with excitement, only to lose momentum when it got hard. But here's the truth. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's persistence. Think about Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC. At 65 years old, with nothing but a fried chicken recipe and a dream, he traveled across the country trying to sell his idea. He was rejected over 1,000 times before someone finally said yes. 1,000 failures, 1,000 closed doors. But he didn't quit. And because of that, today his face is on every KFC sign around the world. Now imagine if he had given up at the 999th rejection. Imagine if he had told himself, maybe this isn't for me. That's where most people stop, right before they're about to break through. There's a man who lost everything at 50. His business collapsed. His savings were gone. His friends told him it's too late to start over. But he refused to accept that. Instead of quitting, he built something new. And within a few years, he had more success than he ever imagined. Why? Because he didn't stop. This is the reality. Every step forward, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. Every time you keep going when you feel like quitting, you're proving to yourself that you have what it takes. And that's what separates winners from everyone else. Most people quit too soon. They hit a roadblock and think, maybe this isn't meant to be. They expect success to come faster and easier, but nothing worth having comes without struggle. The people who make it aren't the smartest. They aren't the most talented. They are simply the ones who refuse to give up. Look at history. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was rejected 12 times before a publisher finally gave her a chance. Walt Disney was fired from his job at a newspaper because his editor told him he lacked imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television, but they all had one thing in common: they kept going. So what's stopping you? What excuse are you telling yourself? That it's too late? That you failed too many times? That you're not good enough? None of that matters. What matters is that you don't stop. The road to success isn't straight. It's full of detours, roadblocks, and setbacks. But every time you keep moving, you get closer. Every time you push through the doubt, the fatigue, the failure, you are proving to yourself and the world that you deserve to win. So here's what you need to remember. First, stop expecting success to be easy. Anything worth having will test you. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Second, redefine failure. Failure isn't a stop sign, it's a lesson. Every setback teaches you something. Every mistake refines you. Every rejection strengthens you. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Third, take one more step. When you feel like quitting, just take one more step, and then another, and another. Before you know it, you'll look back and realize you've come further than you ever imagined. Fourth, remind yourself why you started. On the days when doubt creeps in, when quitting seems easier, go back to your reason. The dream, the goal, the version of yourself you are working to become. Hold on to that and keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to those who refuse to quit. So the next time you think about giving up, ask yourself, what if I'm only one step away from success? Because you might be. And the only way to know is to keep going. Life will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path, challenge your patience, and push you to your limits. But how you respond, how you rise after every fall, will define the person you become. Strength isn't built in comfort. Resilience isn't forged in ease. Growth comes from struggle, from persistence, from refusing to let setbacks break you. You now understand that challenges are not punishments, but opportunities. That your response matters more than the hardship itself. That motivation is fleeting, but action will carry you forward. That self-pity is a cage, and emotional control is freedom. That success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about rising faster every time you fall. This isn't just theory, it's practice, a mindset, a daily discipline. Start small. When frustration rises, pause before reacting. When doubt creeps in, take one more step. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself, every battle is won by the one who refuses to walk away. Your journey is yours alone, but you are not alone. Share your experience. What challenges have tested you? What moments forced you to grow? Leave your story in the comments, because someone out there needs to hear it. And remember, life doesn't reward the strongest, the smartest, or the luckiest. It rewards those who keep going. So keep going. Your victory is closer than you think.